Hey guys, Carl here. I've got my Jackson Coosas sitting here behind me. I made a first video on these and posted it up just prior to this one, showing just a couple things that I did to them after I first got them. I made the secondary paddle holders out of aluminum that I put over the side that allows you to lay your oar or your paddle on the side versus laying it across in the notches that are already on the Coosas. And also I put the standard dog leash drag chain that a lot of Coosa owners have put on theirs. I did upgrade the drag chain system a little bit. I put a flexi medium size on there. It's got a little bit heavier line, give it a little bit more strength, but it's still just a 16-foot line. I've been using these quite a bit over the last couple weeks, and what I'm finding is that fishing the larger ponds and lakes and stuff, right now the bass in our area, in a lot of the places I fish, they're holding in the deeper water but really close to cover. So like on the dam side of a lake where there's good growth, there's grass growth coming up to the surface with some slop and stuff there, they're holding tight right there. And so I'm wanting to hold stationary just outside of that, so I can cover that area and fish it, and the drag chain just not cutting it. The drag chain line on these dog leashes is 16 foot, and so by the time you have it installed up on by the handle and have it to where it actually goes in the water, you've lost 5 foot, so you've only got, right at 11 foot in the water, and you're going to be in a lot of places where you're going to need to be deeper than that to even touch bottom, so you can stay stationary. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and the first thing I tried to do was, I took apart one of these flexi leashes and took all the 16-foot of line out of them, and I had a little bit smaller diameter line, and I was going to wind the leash a little bit tighter and see if I could get a few more feet into it. Well, the way these leashes are made, they'll make about 3 more winds to tighten the tension over what they have in them from the factory, and then they just stop. So you can't hold any more line than what comes in them. It won't accept it. It won't reel it in. Where I got the idea what we're going to talk about tonight is I got from my Jeff Little, kayak bass fishing, big smallmouth fishing guy. I noticed on his video where he covers his about his stern walkthrough in his ride 135. I noticed that he had a retractable retracting mechanism fastened in the back of the tank well, and I kept rewinding, looking at, trying to figure out what it was. At first, I thought it was like some sort of an extension cord retractor. So then I just started looking, Googling stuff, and come to find out it's a clothesline reel. It's a retractable clothesline for outside hang clothesline. So I started looking for those, and lo and behold, I found one. Lowe's carries them. The Lowe's here in Mahalla keeps them in stock. So I picked up 2 of those, and I've already got one of the Coosas done. It took, literally 20 minutes to do the whole setup. I came up with a mounting design and stuff pretty quick, and just kind of off the cuff, and it worked out really well. I can't see any issues with it, and it required no permanent modifications to the kayak or anything, and the whole thing is completely detachable. So I'm going to grab the camera off the tripod, and I'll show you what I did here on this one, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a complete walkthrough on how to build, or how to modify this retractable clothesline system into an anchor system. This thing from Lowe's holds 49. It has 49 feet of vinyl coated line in it. 49 feet, that's pretty substantial. There's not too many places that you're going to be kayak fishing that you couldn't anchor with that amount in there. Long story short, I replaced the vinyl coated line with some other stuff, and I'll get into that. But I'm going to show this to you real quick, and then we'll do a step-by-step build on the second one, so you all know how to do it. Okay. Okay. Here is. Tell you what, we'll just pull this off of here. Okay, here's my Coosas, and here's the one that I did earlier. Like I said, this is a Minky is the brand, and it's a retractable clothesline. This piece here came with it. This pin came with it. This thing is made to screw to a wall or a tree or whatever, and there's where the line comes out right there, and I've got it running down the opposite side of the Coosa from where the drag chain's at, and right now I don't have anything attached to it, and we'll get into what you can attach to that, or what you might want to attach to it whenever we finish this up. But this is it, and it's mounted here to the high-low chair, and you can see it moves freely, but yet it moves freely like this. But whenever you put tension on it from the back, let's see, we have some line out here. This is a cool feature. This little nub here built into this thing, this retractor has no lock on it like the dog leashes do. So I mean, it's free spooling, so to speak. Of course, it always has the spring tension on it. So whenever you get your anchor, your line that you want out, simply wrap it once. I'll try to get to where you can see this, and then when you come over and you wrap it the second time, pull it tight, and you see that bite? See it bite in right there? It's solid. So now, that was just 1.5 wraps. It's solid. It's not going anywhere. And of course your chair is strapped down. Of course it's not right now, but whenever you're out there fishing, it's going to be strapped down. And right now, I fish this in the high position. I've yet to even use it in the low position. But all you got to do, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed here. Now you're in the low position. This it doesn't get in the way. It pretty much stays in the same position. It just changes the angle a little bit. So the guys that don't like fishing this in the high position, this will still work in the low position. So anyway, that's the basics of it, and here in just a second I'll get everything laid out, and we'll show you how to make one. Okay, here we go. This is what you're going to need to make your anchor system. First thing we have here is the Minky brand Dryer Dynamics. It's the retractable clothesline, 49 foot. You can see here they kind of show a picture of it mounting to a brick wall. These are $14.99, something like that, at Lowe's. Like I said, the Lowe's here keeps them in stock. They had several, so I got 2 of them. So you've got that. Also at Lowe's, this is a Velcro brand one wrap. It is this happens to be a 30-foot long by 1.5 inch roll. This is the double-sided stuff. It sticks to itself
You get the male Velcro on one side and the female on the other side, so you can keep wrapping it and it'll stick to itself. What I'm using for lashing the two my lines together in various places is this happens to be a 50-pound Power Pro. It's power braid, and really strong, works real well. I don't like to have any knots in any of the lines, as far, especially something that's going to be getting reeled up into a spool. I want to keep it clean, so I'll show you what we're going to do with that. I'm going to need heat shrink, a couple pieces here. This is like a 1/4 inch, 3/8, and what it's for, this is what I'm going to replace the vinyl line, the vinyl coated line that's inside the reel with. I got this at a local hardware store, but this is a good size. It's 5/32 of an inch by 45 feet. It's a general use rope, polyester. I'm sure there's better lines out there suited for this type of purpose, but once you get it unwrapped and unrolled, it's a really strong and really flexible line. It doesn't seem to be any different from any other type of anchor line I've seen used out there, as far as it's how it's made, and this just happens to be orange. We've got a little small vise, a little C-clamp. I'll show you what that's going to be used for. And then we've got a needle. This is a large sewing needle here, and a 1/16 inch drill bit, and this little jewel right here. Go to your junk drawer or your keychain, and you're probably going to find a million of them laying around. That's just these cheap little key rings. They come with key sets and doorknob sets. Sometimes you'll find new car keys. They'll come on the chain. They're really inexpensive, really small diameter little keychains. So dig up one of those and show you what that's going to be used for. And then of course we've got a drill. We need a drill, heat gun, and or lighter. I prefer heat gun for my heat shrink. And then something to cut your power braid with. You can use any type of braid you want. Anything in the 40 to 50 pound range would work real well for what we're going to be doing here. So let's get going. Okay, first thing we'll do, get this out of the way. We'll open this bad boy up, and I'll show you what we got. And actually, we're going to be using most of the stuff that comes in it, except for that mounting hardware. Alright, get rid of that box. Okay, so here's our retractable clothesline. It comes with this little jobby here to hook on to something on the other side, I guess. And then it's got 49 feet of this vinyl coated string in there. And it seems stout enough, but I don't want to trust it on an anchor line. So we're going to be getting rid of that. Here on this side, we've got the mounting hardware. How this thing was designed to mount was to screw into an object, and then you just pull the line out across the yard to a tree or whatever. And it comes with this pin, and that pin comes out, and there you go. So we got the bracket and the pin. We're going to set that to the side for now. We'll get back to it later. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pull all this line out, all this vinyl coated line. So pull this out. Like I said, there's 49 feet of it, quite a bit. Still going. Like I said earlier, this is when this thing is done, I don't see any type of situation where this really wouldn't work unless you're fishing deep ocean or something like that. So we're really gonna pull that until there's just pretty much got it maxed out there. And my whole tension on that, this is where a C-clamp comes in. See, we're gonna be cutting this, so I don't want this to retract back in and spin out my spring, because if that happens, I'm pretty much dead in the water. Because when I see there's no screws to take this thing apart. I'm not sure how it's snapped and or glued together. So yeah, if we lose that bite on that C-clamp, that's pretty much it. Okay, so we're clamped. We got 49 feet of line out. I'm going to readjust this camera here. Alright. There's all of our vinyl coated string. Line out there. Now we're going to take our cutters. Leave yourself plenty of room to work. About 6 inches out from the housing. We're going to just cut it right there. Okay. So all this go in the trash. Or if you got something around the house you would use it on, hang on to it. Okay, what I've done here, I opened up the new line that we're going to be putting into the reel. I've got it stretched out here on the floor. Got it ready to go. Got a section of my Power Pro, my 50-pound braid. Got a section of it here, and got it threaded into the needle here. So what we're going to do, take the end of our new line, get it good and straight. Going to take a section of a heat shrink. This is just a short one here. I think probably what I recommend being the best is just go ahead and use a full length piece of it. This is the stuff you can get at Lowe's. It comes in these like 4-inch lengths in a package. Just slide a whole one right over the top of your line, so it's on there, and then just slide it on down. Because you're going to want to cover this whole thing up once you get it all together. So we're just going to take the let me zoom in here just a little bit. We're going to overlap to about 3.5 inches or so. Get a good overlap on them. I'm going to start down here at the end, closest to the spool. And we're just going to punch this needle from the bottom side of that orange in. I'm going to wrap it. And this is a lot easier to do when you're not trying to film it. And then we're going to punch it right here through the vinyl. Handy to have a block of wood or a little tool where you can push your needle through. Just grab it and bring it through. And you don't have to run constant back and forth stitches through something like this all the way down it. I've joined all kinds of lines using this thread technique and heat shrink, and just by simply wrapping it a lot, putting a lot of wraps and keeping it nice and tight, that line is going to bite into both pieces that you're wrapping, and just the sheer friction, the bite force that each one of those wraps has is going to have amazing strength. You won't be able to pull this apart whenever it's done. So I put one through right there just to hold it. Now I'm just going to do some wraps. I'm just keeping good tension on it. Good tension. Now I'm going to punch it through one more time. Get it lined up. This is actually the easiest way to do this. I don't want to push down on my freezer that I'm doing this on. My wife will kill me. Pull it through. And we're going to continue wrapping. And every time you push the needle through, that allows you to let go of what you've done before because it keeps it nice and tight. Keep wrapping. Keep it tight. Punch through again. Make, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 wraps, and then run your needle through the whole thing. And just keep repeating that. And take it to the end. Okay, here's what we've got. I ran that thread all the way down, and along with wrapping it, I went into, I put the needle through probably a total of 12 times or so, going down and coming back. That pretty much, I had about, doubled over. There was probably 2.5 foot of line of power braid there, and that stuff's really strong. And you can see here, here's the knot where I started, and then whenever I finished, I just pulled it through and just cut it. And to finish those out, all you do is take your lighter, and we're just going to torch those. Let them catch on fire, burn down, and when it gets down close, just hit it with your thumb. It may be a little bit warm, but you can use the side of the lighter if you don't want to use your thumb. Hit that one, ball down, and hit it. Okay, that's there, and that is strong. I mean, that is super, super strong. That's not going anywhere. And also, whenever this is all said and done, this is going to be wound up at the very, very back of the spool. Odds of you ever even getting to it, to have this even out of the spool, are pretty slim that you'll ever even see that. So with all the other line wrapped around it, it'll be taking part of the load. So this won't ever even see a whole lot of strain at all. So okay, so we've got that done. Now what we're going to do, slide our heat shrink on up. If you'll notice, I cut a little bit of the original length off. The reason I had it a little longer on the overlap was so I had something to hang on to keep it lined up while I was wrapping it. So now we've cut it down to where you slide the heat shrink over it and get it over evenly on both ends. There's about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of coverage of heat shrink on both sides. So we've got that there. We're going to take the heat gun, plug in, make sure I got that where I want it. Heat shrink, you don't want to keep your gun in one spot too long. Just keep working it around. That's done. Nice and warm. So there you go. This end is finished. You can see our little C-clamp did its job. Kept it from retracting back in. Now I'll go ahead and remove the C-clamp. I'm going to go ahead and just feed this line. I'll let it feed itself in. And this particular clothesline retractor has got a really nice void in it, the way that it's made. So you can just let this, you don't have to guide it or anything. You just let it go in and it's going to seat itself. Gotta watch it before I get to the end here. Okay, so here's the end. Now, so I don't have any accidents, go ahead and put my clamp. I'll pull it out, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet, just so I got plenty of room to work with. And we're going to clamp that, like so. Set that back down. And for our anchor side, we're just simply going to make a loop. Take about 2.5 inches or so, and just lay it over like so. And we're going to make a loop about that big. We're going to do the same thing we did down here that we did on the other end. I'll sew it all up, wrap it, and heat shrink it. Number one thing though, don't forget your heat shrink. I've done this a million times, and I've had an end of whatever I was making sewed up, and thought, oh yeah, that's great, it's done. Then I realized I forgot to put my heat shrink on. So, heat shrink on first. Slide it out of the way. Now we've got that ready to sew up. Okay, so we're done with the end loop. That's going to attach to your chain or your anchor, whatever you're going to use to hold you in place. Like I said, did this exactly the same way we did the first one. Stitched it all up, forward and back, wrapping with stitches going back and forth through it, and then heat shrinked it, and it's good and solid and nice and clean. No big knot there or anything. One thing I forgot to mention earlier that you're going to need is a carabiner. The ones I have that I use are aluminum. I'm sure you could probably find stainless steel ones like this. The ones I have, they're relatively inexpensive, but they're pretty strong. I mean, you're gonna be doing a lot to break one of these, especially with just the force that a kayak exerts upon an anchor, which isn't going to be a whole lot. This is your safety, per se. This is what's always going to keep your line from retracting up or getting away from you and going up into the spool. So we've got it through there. Now what we're going to do is remove our clamp, put it in place, get it out of the way here. There we go. So that carabiner won't fit down in that hole. Even if it's flipped over this way, it'll only go in there so far. But that's as far as it'll go in there. So just get your carabiner. There's tons of sizes out there. You should be able to find one that'll suit what you need. So I'm going to run over there and I'm going to show you how you mount this to your Coosa. Something I forgot to mention, our pin that came with this, that holds the mounting bracket on, and goes all the way through the plastic housing, through the metal bracket, and then sticks out the end, not too far. It's going to be a little shy of 1/4 of an inch, but that 1/16 inch drill bit that I had out is what we're going to use. We're going to drill a hole straight through this for our little keychain. So this is probably the hardest part of this entire project, just because using the drill bit that small can be kind of touch and go. You just gotta be really careful and take it slow, or else you'll be breaking 16th inch drill bits all day long. This is fairly soft metal, so it goes through it pretty well. The main thing is just putting a lot of force and going really slow to keep that drill bit from trying to walk on you. That way you can get a good hole straight through it. So I'm going to take a little marker and I'm going to put a little dot just about 1/8 inch in, and that's where I'm going to drill. And I'm going to get that hole drilled and then be back in just a minute. Okay, so I get this thing to focus here. Our hole is drilled straight through, and we're going to keep that pin in place using the little keychain. These things, even under the best conditions, are hard to get apart and get onto something like that, especially if you're wearing gloves or something like that. Of course, once it's on there, whenever you're launching or taking off for the day, you just put it on and it stays on there all day, and take it off at the end. One little trick with these keychains that you can do is, I did not grab them, needle nose pliers. Hang on. Needle nose pliers. You're going to stick the nose in. Oh, probably about 1/4 of an inch. Let me get it positioned there and I'll show it to you. You're going to grab about 1/4 inch or so of your ring, and you're just going to give it a little bit of a twist outward. Give it just a little bit more. There you go. Get it focused in here. See how I bent that out just a little bit? Now what that's going to allow me to do is, whenever I'm ready to put that through that hole, simply go right in and spin it on around, and you're in. Take it off the same way. It just makes it that easy. That's it. Just an easy trick for anything that's got a ring on it. Pretty cool. Alright, now we're ready to put it on the yak. Okay, I'm over here by the other Coosa. So I'm on the, as you're sitting in the seat, I'm over here on the left side of it. And the part we're going to be focusing on is this area right here, between the screw here that holds the back bottom piece on, and where the webbing wraps around the bar. And you can see, you can work that and get your fingers through there. And that's where we're gonna mount this retractable anchor. Here's the Velcro I pointed out earlier. And like I said, this is the 1.5 inch, and you can see the two sides of it. So it just sticks to itself, and you can wrap it around itself all day long. This stuff is incredibly strong, super strong, especially when you wrap up a couple layers. I've had this, I've used it on a lot of different things in all different types of weather, and it holds. It does really well. And if you see it starting to get weak or fade or dry rot, just take it off and replace it with a new piece. So here's our mounting bracket for the retractor. I'm just going to set it right here. Just going to float right in there. Before we do that, we'll get this started through there. It's kind of a tight fit in the bracket, but it seats down in there pretty well once you get some tension on it, once you get it going. So you're going to get it seated in there, pull it nice and tight. You want to get that, just get it started where it starts to grab a hold of it. There we go. Now this is kind of a tricky part. You got to feed this through there and try to keep it from grabbing when you don't want it to. Grab them really good as you go. And I'd say 2.5 wraps, 3 if you really want to go for the gold. That should do it. If you've got a little knife or something you can lay in between these 2 layers as you're trying to feed this, it'll make it a lot easier than what I'm doing. Just getting a hold of it to grab it is the hard part. Okay, we'll go one more. So I think that's a 2.5. Now we're going to take our scissors and we're just going to cut it. You want to cut it to where when you finish it out, that last wrap is going to be down there kind of under the seat, or down on the lower side of the seat. That way you don't have anything to snag that tail end of Velcro on. So there you go, it's there, and you can see this kind of rotate and move, and that's what you want it to do. So that's that. Now in the case of this retractor, we are going to run the line to the back of the yak. So when I mount it, I'm going to put the nub forward, because you can see whenever I'm pulling the line out, it's rolling off of the drum and going toward the back. Rolling off and going toward the back. If you were going to screw some pad eyes down the front and run it off the bow, just flip it and put it in the bracket and run it that way. But for right now, I'm just going to run it off the back. So the nub goes forward. Set it in place. Run our pin through. Our little custom keychain here. Put it in place. And it's set. It's ready to go. Now we can do, like anything that you make, there's very few products out there, even if you do them yourself, that where it's 100% and it has all pros and no cons. you know, this has got one con that I can think of, and that is that at some point you have to take your carabiner off to run your line through your pad eyes. So just don't let go of your line. Don't let go of it so it can't retract up into the drum. Because like I said, if that happens, you're liable to have a spin out on the drum, and you'll be in a mess then. So we've got our line, and here again, this is why I don't use a knot. Okay, come on back here to the first pad eye, go through, back to the second one, go through, and then we'll put our carabiner back on. Now it can do whatever it wants to do, and it's not gonna pull through. Like I said, this is about as easy of a system as I think you can come up with as far as having a full-fledged retractable anchor on your kayak. Of course, this is just what I came up with for the Coosa. As far as I know, it should work on all the Jacksons that have the high-low seat mounted to them. The cool thing is it moves with the seat, so it's not permanently fixed to the kayak. You know, and once when the seat's strapped down in whatever position you have it in, it holds. I mean, it's going to hold really good. It handles a lot of pressure. And right now you can see that we're in the high position, and then we just go to the low position, and it's still operational. It's just sitting a little bit different at an angle. So you got your anchor on there, drop down, hit the bottom, feed it however much line you want. Whenever you get out the desired amount, just wrap it once, wrap it twice, cinch it, and it's there. It's going to stay. And like I mentioned before, if you want to run it off the bow, just flip this whole system around and run it off the bow. And you can see how easy it comes off. You know, when you're ready to call it a day and you're done. You know, I haul my kayaks on top of a truck rack that I made. So this just comes out. Once again, don't let go of it. Get your carabiner on it. Now you can let go of it. It's not going to go anywhere. Come down here. Take your pin off. Put your pin back through. Put your ring back through. And throw that in the truck. That's it. And just leave this on, because it's not hurting anything. It's not going to get in the way of anything. If you're not using the anchor that day, just roll it underneath, and it's out of the way. I mean, total clearance there. It's a good setup. One thing I want to talk about real quick before we finish this out is anchors. We'll come over to the other one that I've still got installed. Okay. This isn't the only anchor I own right now. It's a little 3-pound expanding grapple type anchor, and you can use it either folded up like this or with the little spikes splayed out so it'll grab. The way I set mine up, and obviously this will be ran all the way through the back, but I'll show you right here just for these purposes. I've got a little zip tie there in the
the top eye of the anchor. This is your breakaway, and some people do this, some people don't, to each their own. This is a pretty small zip tie, but they're still pretty strong. I've done some test breaks on them, and it takes quite a bit of force to break that, so you can get your anchor retrieved. But when you're setting up, if you're using an anchor like this, you're going to run your loop through this eye first, through this zip tie. Put your carabiner on, and then we're going to run the carabiner through the anchor. So this is what we've got right here. That'll allow us to have that breakaway feature on the anchor, and this works with it collapsed or open, either way. So that way, if your anchor does get snagged and you cannot get it loose, then you can just give it a really good pull. You can break the zip tie, which sends your line up here to the end and pull your anchor free. Or you can just do it the old way and just tie it right on, however you want to do it. Like I said, that's a pretty small zip tie, but they work pretty well. There's all different types of zip ties. This one's about 3/16 wide. It's going to be substantially stronger. It's about twice as wide as this one. It's going to be a lot stronger. You're going to have to use a lot more force to get this one to break, and then you want to hope that you can get it to break. Because when you're trying to do this from the water in precarious positions, it may be a little bit harder than doing tests on dry land. So anyway, there's the anchor. One thing that this type of anchor will not do is it will not pull up through the back here, like the chain will. The chain fits down there nicely, and it drops and slides through nicely. This won't. It wants to catch, just because of the size of it. And one thing you can do, that I've seen guys do, is you can take the back handle off and put plastic pipe in for spacers to raise the handle up, and that'll give you some clearance. Or you can just use a different type of anchor system altogether. I think what I'm going to end up doing, I'm going to have to find some. They're kind of hard to find these days. I'm going to utilize my chain on this anchor side. These are 20-inch sections of chain that I made for my drag anchor for the river. And you see I got both ends open so I can attach to either end. But what I think I'm going to do is I'll attach my line, my carabiner, to one end, and then I'm going to get like a 4 to 6 pound downrigger ball and carabiner it to the other end. And I think that'll make a pretty nice anchor, because when you drop that thing down, especially on like a mud bottom or something, that 4, 5, 6 pound lead ball is just gonna kind of just stick down in that mud a little bit, and then your chain is gonna lay on down too, which is gonna help hold that ball in place. And I think that'll be a pretty good anchor system for a lot of the lakes and ponds that I fish, and it'll be easier to retrieve too. And then I can it'll retrieve right on up into this groove, and so to where just that lead ball will be hanging off the back here. So that's it. Hope you guys stuck through that. I know it was kind of a lengthy process. I just wanted to take the time and show you guys how I did that anchor system. Like I said, I think it's gonna work out really well on the kayaks. What I like about it is just the simplicity of it, and the fact that it detaches really easy, and you can just throw it in the vehicle. You don't even have to have it on the kayak, so there's no drilling of holes or anything like that. And like I mentioned before, you can get some other pad eyes and run them down toward the front on the same side, and you can put you can run your anchor right off the bow, depending on how you're fishing. And you just run it right off the side if you want, however you want to do it. Kind of eliminates the anchor trolley system on these smaller boats. Just one less thing to worry about, I guess.
But you know, there's a ton of videos out there on the drag anchor for the Coosa, because you know, Drew Gregory designed this thing to have a drag anchor. I mean, that's why the grooves are in the back, and they work really good for rivers, you know, small rivers and stuff where you're not getting in very deep water. But like I said earlier, you only got 10 foot of line that you can use once it's in the water. And a lot of ponds and lakes, it's just not going to cut it. It's not even going to touch the bottom, and you're going to be blowing all over trying to hold your position. It's just not going to work. So I didn't really see anything out there on a substantial retractable anchor system. So I thought I'd do a video on how I did mine. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and you have any comments or questions, put them below and I'll answer them. And we'll talk to you guys later.